So we're going to open up a new folder. Actually, I think I might do this thing again where I execute the command here and create a folder. It wants to create a folder for us. Okay, so we're about to say the name. I guess if we're going to lean into what's our first step to creating a new React app, it is open ChatGPT and say, how do I create a React app? Yeah. So the current approach, no, I don't want the traditional way. I want the recommended way using Vite. So we're going to say npm create Vite at latest. I'm actually going to make the folder in this process and then open the folder. I think that'll be easier, okay? So, you ready for this? npm create space Vite, V-I-T-E, at latest. So that's we'll run the latest version of Vite to help us create a new app. And we're going to call this, here's what we're going to do. This demo that we're going to do is going to be garbage. So I'm going to call it garbage. And we're going to throw it away, and we'll restart it later. Is that okay? Like, I'm just recognizing up front, this is not going to be the final one. We just want to play around. You could call it playground, and that might be a little bit more positive. Okay, this creates a, do we want to install the following package? Yes, we do. All right, now it's going to say select a framework. So Vite is a whole build system for web-based stuff. So these are lots and lots of, like, all of the big deal front-end frameworks, and we're going to want React. Yeah, Izzy? I don't think you did it right. npm space create space Vite at latest space garbage. Do you have npm installed? You must. What's the error say? Okay, so I'm going to select React, going down to select React. And then it's a little hard to see on my dark. You're going to stay awake, right? Oh, no. Ella's like, no, I don't get light on or off. She's out. Okay, we're going to say enter. Okay, we're going to choose just plain old TypeScript. I think TypeScript is so good that we should just always use TypeScript and not use JavaScript. Remember that TypeScript is JavaScript with types. Okay. Use roll down Vite experimental. I do not like experimental. Let's be safe, so I'm going to say no. Install with npm and start now. Why not? So I'm going to say yes. So now we're running this program that's going to scaffold our project. That means it's going to download a baseline template for a modern React app. It's going to go ahead and run npm I. It's going to even, I think, run npm start or npm run start to start the app. So this takes a little bit because it's got to download and create a bunch of stuff. If you were to look over here, oh, hang on. No. We did it start it? Okay. I should have a garbage folder here, and that's actually what I want to run. So actually, I'm going to stop this. So I'm going to press Control-C to stop it. Sorry, I don't know. There should be a better way of doing this, and I didn't do it. I'm going to open a folder, and I really want to run the, I want to make my workspace folder the root of folder that I'm opening in VS Code. Does that make sense? So I've opened the garbage folder now as the root of my VS Code workspace. I opened the folder that it created for me before. Okay. Let's see what we got. I'm going to open the package.json. We've seen a package.json before, right? Right? So we see that we have this name garbage. The version is 0.0.0. Let's give ourselves a little credit. We have a set of scripts that have been defined. There's the dev script, the build script, the lint script, and the preview script. Yeah. So when we have a new window, I'm going to open this somewhere where I want the code to be, like in my code folder. And I'm opening the code folder right now. Did I?
I'm getting error. Seems like sort of.
Wait, is anybody else getting that? No? Hang on just a second. So we're going to run this npm. I'm answering Izzy's question. npm create space vite at latest. Did you do this, Izzy? And then here, the name of the thing you want to create. I bet I could have said dot and just put it in the current folder. And then I could have not done that extra opening the folder thing. And then you're going to select React. Is that where you are? Where you're going to select the... So I'm going to go down to React and choose React. I'm going to choose TypeScript from this guy. I don't want to use this roll down Vite, and I do want to install with npm and start now. So then this downloads everything, installs everything, and runs it. Okay. And it actually runs the dev server. I'm going to go ahead and kill this and switch back to my other one, which is this one. So since I just opened this one, it looks like dev is the script that I want to run. So I'm going to say npm run dev, because it's the dev script I want to run. It starts my app at localhost port 5173. If you command or alt click on this, it will open this up in a web browser. And you see, just like that, you can see our React site app when we open our web browser to localhost :5173. You'll notice that there's these two like sweet icons, which will go to vite.dev and to React. But the functionality here, are you ready for this functionality, Annika? This is going to blow your mind. Click on this. Every time you click on it, the number increases. What are y'all up to? Ethan, you beating me? Oh. Okay, so we're going to, when you open the folder of a React app, you're going to do npm run dev, and that runs the development server for this app.
I think I got. It was like you already used overwriting files.
Did you make a new folder with the same name as an existing folder? That may have broken it. Okay, so I've opened up this new project, the garbage project. Yes? I'm going to say npm I, sure, say, to make sure everything's installed. So this went really fast because it was already done, but I have all the packages that I need for this project. If I were to look in my package.json, you see that I have dependencies of React and React DOM, and I have all these dev dependencies which are the development tools that I need to build this. So these are all the packages that should download when I run npmi. When you run the initial script, that Vite create Vite thing, it runs npmi for you, so you don't have to the first time. To run it, we're going to say npm run, and it's this dev script, which you see, all it actually does is just run Vite, but we don't even need to remember that. We're just going to say npm run dev. And what this does is it builds the React app and starts a local server that's hosting it, and that server is running, it's hosting your site on localhost, that's the name of your computer, but on port 5173. And if you command click on this, command click on Mac, I think would be maybe alt click here, it'll go ahead and open that URL in your browser. Is everybody able to get this thing working? Give me a hands up if it is working. Hey, that's pretty good. Okay. JT, you got that thing working? Is that a question, Annika, or is that a still? Okay, sorry. Okay, I didn't want to. Izzy, what are you seeing? Did you open the garbage folder or whatever you named your app? So whenever you're doing npm run dev, it's looking for a package.json in the current directory down here, and it will run whatever script is here. Hmm? No, for me, I like close that project and open a new folder that was open at the garbage folder, like in my project, instead of opening the folder that contained all of the other folders. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you need to do file open folder and open to the garbage folder, and then you can execute the npm run dev. But you're in the folder that's outside of it, and that folder doesn't have a package.json folder in it, a package.json file in it. So just open the folder to the garbage or whatever you named your app. Open that folder, and then you can execute this command. And then close the other one too. Otherwise, you'd have two versions of it running. They can't both be on the same port. Okay, so Ethan, question? Is yours working? Okay. Let me take a quick look before we move on.
I'm having to clear a problem. Okay, now.
Hey, JT, did you get it working?
Yeah, I think I used the older version of folder, but like the definitions were weird. It actually told me the error thing. It was clear.
Yeah.
Indian clear force showed me where it's like definitions are weird to run. I run
It's the same thing.
I did. Here, wait. Do you have the? So run the thing you did.
Good, right? Yeah. Let's record.
Yeah.
If do you see how many files and folders just got made? How are you feeling right now? Name is great. Crazy? What? Lazy. I see. To me, it is a little overwhelming. It just created so much stuff for us. We're standing on top of people who are standing on top of people who are standing on top of people who, like, are my age, right? Like, there's been so much, all this complexity that builds up is what you're experiencing. So let me try to give you like maybe a tour of the situation. We know our package.json is the file that defines our dependencies and kind of the metadata about this app. In this case, the name, garbage, and the version, and also our dependencies. The index.html, that sounds familiar. Index.html is our placeholder HTML page that very little content is in. You see, this is only 14 lines long. So this is what React is doing. We have what's called a single page app. There's just one index.html, and the only thing that's in it is an empty div labeled root. What? Where's all the content? Right? I can literally see content here on this index. Where is it coming from? And the answer is JavaScript. Through another system, JavaScript is creating the content that goes on our page. So let's see where that is. It's in the source folder. That's src. So if you open up the source folder, you'll see a couple things that are interesting. So let's look at a thing called yeah, I guess if we want to walk through this, you may not want to understand this, but whatever. This, I do want to understand it. Like, how is that code getting there? And the answer is in this. This TSX, we have this is calling create root at document.getElementById root. And this is the magic. You never have to look at this file again, okay? But I like to know the magic. Like, at least this part looks familiar to what we were doing with JavaScript, right? So it's saying, find me that element that has an ID of root. We just saw it was an empty div. And what we're going to do is render our entire app component right there at that spot. So we're going to replace the div that was there with a bunch of code that React is going to compile and create based on this other syntax, JSX. So if you look under app TSX, you can see this function app, scroll to the bottom, that gets exported default as the word app. All of this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that's defined here is going to get rendered and replace that div with an ID of root. Sure. I don't know. I think it might have to do with handling null or undefined stuff so that maybe it won't do render. It's like one of those null coalescing things or something. I think it has to do with dealing with null. Good question, and I'm not 100% sure. Mm-hmm.
What is the
Great question. So this app is the core component of this app. It's kind of the conventional name. You can see that it's right up here. App comes from app.tsx. On Mac, you can command click on this and it'll jump to where it's defined, which is just opening up the app.tsx. Remember components? Did I mention the word components last time? Components, components, components. That was this class, right? That was the other class? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, isn't that what put me on developers? Developers, developers, developers. I did say that. Okay. So React is going to structure everything as components, components that have components within them, that might have components within them. These are our components. And our root component, that is our most top-level component, is typically called app. In this case, they put everything in the app, this little template repo. This wouldn't be really good structure, good clean coding, but this is a super simple app. So here you can see we actually have the basics of this React app. And this looks more like HTML, CSS, right? We have this div, there's an image, an anchor tag, there's a button. Now for any of this stuff, I can select this P tag, delete it, press save, and then that just disappeared. Do you see that thing at the bottom? Undo. It was like this. And I deleted it, saved, it's gone. So React has a really nice, it's called hot module reload, where it will automatically refresh the page for you when it changes. It's automatically recompiling and stuff too. You can see there's up here, these are just two, I think they're just two images. I'm going to get rid of them as well. So for this div that had the images, let's go ahead and delete that. Let's understand this little bit of functionality that's on this page. And I guess if you watched Tamash's video, then you already know all this, right? Oh, well, React is super picky. The React compiler, the build system, if you are importing things that you don't use, whether it's, in this case, SVGs, or it's CSS, or JavaScript, JSX, TSX, it will yell at you to remove the stuff that you're not using. And before I jump into the JS stuff, let me look at the CSS. This is like a traditional old school kind of default app where we define the CSS, the styles for this, in a separate CSS file that's called, in this case, app.css. So they named the CSS file the same name as the component. So if I open this up, I think I'd actually rather just come over here. Here it is. It's in the same folder, app CSS, and you see these 43 lines. This is just plain old CSS, not Tailwind. You seeing this? This is plain old CSS. This .logo needs to match up with something with a class of logo. Oh, I think I deleted that. So that's how the styling is happening. You with me? The reason we learned Tailwind is, to me, this coupling of having a different CSS file for every component is a little clunky because you kind of want to be doing both things at the same time. And Tailwind is going to let us do that. And you already know Tailwind, so what I'd rather do, this isn't going to work yet because our project isn't set up, but in here, maybe up here, I would like to be able to say this has a class equal to text, 3XL, and make this really large using Tailwind classes. You with me? As opposed to right now, that's really large because, there's no styling to it. Sorry, it's just because I'm zoomed in. Let me point this out since I just hit it. This is what we're used to, but at this moment, if you look at the structure of this, this is a function. This function has like some sort of constant that's being set up here. More on that later. And it has a return statement. This is weird for how you would normally write JavaScript, but this is the JSX way. The main bulk of what you're doing is often what's in the return statement. And this is like the markup-y stuff that you're returning. It looks like HTML, right? But really it's JavaScript. Everything we're writing in here is JavaScript. And in JavaScript, I didn't teach it to you, but it is true, JavaScript uses the class keyword to represent like an object, like a class. So because of that, because class is a reserved keyword in JavaScript, if you want to use the word class as a property in like HTML, you have to say class name. So class name in JSX or TSX will get converted to class equals in the CSS, in the rendered HTML. You with me? Just like they did here. Okay, we really want to use Tailwind. Should we go ahead and set that up? You think so? Name is down. Let me show you one more thing first, I guess. This is weird, but just go with me, okay? Just believe. Can you believe? Because of the way React works, where it's very, it embraces immutability. Remember immutability? That means you can't change stuff. In order to change stuff, to like have variables that cause the interface to reactively change, if we're going to have state that would cause our component to need to re-render, we're going to use this hook called useState. So this syntax, which looks funky, is saying basically create a special variable. Its default value is going to be 0, which means it must be a number. We're going to extract an array of 2 things that come out of the useState call. The first thing is the actual value, which is immutable. So this is the current count. And we're also going to get a function called setCount that sets the count. You see what they did there. These are just conventional names, but you should follow the convention. You could name it whatever you wanted to, but by convention, the 0th thing in the array is the read-only value, and the 1th thing in the array is a function that changes that deeply stored value.
So even though that value is the array is itself through the function.
Yes, only through this function setCount. So if you jump down here, you'll notice there's an onClick event. And this onClick event, let me separate it out into a little bit more space, has an arrow function defined right here in place. You see that? Let me put this on a separate line too. So this is the whole arrow function. This arrow function calls setCount, and there is this goofy scenario. You would think you'd just put in count plus 1, but to be most accurate, what you pass in here is a function that has the current count as a parameter, and then it executes and returns the changed version. So you could almost call this, you might call this the previous count, and it's going to return previous count plus 1. If that helps you, like, in this context, that count was a different count than this one. You with me there? They shared the same name, but they weren't the same variable, even though they're very logically related as well. So I think this makes it clearer. So this should still work. Let me make sure I haven't broken it. Does it still work? Yes. So I don't know if it's as if, no, this is very dense. This is dense code. You remember this arrow function syntax? It's shorthand for having a function body that returns that, right? What's this curly for? Okay, that's gross. Okay. So this, so this is how we change the count. This is how we use the count. So an essential thing to see here is whatever is this white text in my VS Code is just plain old static text. Whatever I put in curlies is interpreted as JavaScript. So if you want to do something that's logic, that is actually running JavaScript code, then you've got to put it in curlies. You see that here. You see it here as well, that this button click here is we're starting to write code. So when we're in the return statement, which is the JSX syntax, if we want to jump into code mode, then we got to be in curlies. Yes. Okay. That's a great question. And I see it looks like here, you can't see there's TypeScript at all. Like, what is going on? And it is a testament to how cool TypeScript is. That the TypeScript compiler tries its very best, and it's very smart, to infer the data type of everything. So because we've told it enough at this moment for count, since we said the use state is 0, it knows, oh, then count must be a number. You see when I hover over it, it's inferred that it is a number. So because of that, we can break this. If I say here that count is equal to
you have to do that.
Like, let me try this as well. So let's say I have another thing which is name, and then this would be called set name, and I would like this to be Nima, of course. Okay. You see how picky it is. It's saying, hey, you assigned these variables, but you never used them. You should just delete them. If you're not going to use them, you should delete them, which is annoying. I'm like, I'm getting to it. Just calm down. So if down here, yeah. So now I have used name, and yeah, name is Nima. Yeah. Let's say that
Can you do multiple?
no, I can't. The way that I have this set up with this like double arrow syntax is a little bit gross. So if I was going to do something more complicated, then I would want to say const handle click is equal to a new arrow function. Sorry, arrow curly. And in this, I would like to do what I did down here. This right here, I'm going to update set count. And let's also set the name to be the name, which should be right $name. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, we can do that.
You could actually just.
Yeah, thank you. So that's going to basically append an A to the name. I think this is going to work. All right, so now in here, this is where I link these together. I don't need all this extra space now. And I want to say the onClick is the handle click function. So let's see if this works. Hey, it does work. So you see, because I was doing kind of more than one thing, I then wanted to just break it out into a whole function here. But we could do all kinds of complex stuff in this function that's handling the click. Do you see what's cool about this? I hope you do. I want you to see this. Can you imagine what we would have had to do in plain old vanilla JavaScript to make this happen? We would have had to like find all those elements, and then at particular click events, we would have had to update. Like it would have been okay because this is a super simple app, but this is this declarative approach to programming in React, where by putting curly count and curly name here, we don't have to worry about updating the DOM when it changes. It just magically does when the stuff changes. When the use state changes, it reacts and updates. Yeah? Questions on that? Okay, so let's do what I know we've all been wanting to do, which is add Tailwind. So I'm going to Control C to end the dev server. Now at this point, if I come over here and refresh, I just refresh, Command R, this will not work because it's not running anymore. To install Tailwind, let's look over here, how to install Tailwind. And this time we do have Vite, so we do want to do this the Vite way. So we already did this part where we npm created Vite at latest, so we don't have to do that. We already have a project. We just need to npm install Tailwind CSS and this Tailwind/Vite plugin. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. So it's npm space install space Tailwind CSS space at Tailwind CSS/Vite. You see that? Which I'm just following these commands. Okay, so it did this, and it looks like the other thing is we have to add the at Tailwind CSS/Vite plugin to our Vite config. So let's find our Vite config, which is down here, viteconfig.ts. And it says under the plugin section, we need one of these. So it looks like in here, I think, I want to put Tailwind CSS here, which means I also have to import it from up here, adding the import Tailwind CSS from at Tailwind CSS/Vite. You seeing that? This guy? So I need to do this line and this line. In this case, plugins is an array. You see this? It's an array of things. And we have the React plugin and the Tailwind CSS plugin. Yeah?
So where's the
Did you? Sorry, it's vite.config.ts. And then this is the other thing we have to set up when I'm running out of time. What do you need, Annika? This guy? So yeah, so we're importing it. At the top, somewhere up here, importing the Tailwind CSS plugin, and then like putting it in the plugins array with comma. So you might as well put a trailing comma. So somehow this sets up Tailwind in the plugins of the Vite config. And then we need to add import to your CSS file that imports Tailwind CSS. This is the part that I'm less clear on. I guess it could just be anything. Let's try, I kind of want to just try putting it in here and see what it does. So if I say at import Tailwind CSS, and that should be in double quotes. Let's see if this works. Oh, semicolon. So this line, I'm putting in a CSS file that's definitely been imported into the project, which I know the app.css is. Actually, this index CSS is probably the better one. Yeah. I take it back. Take this out of here and put it in the index CSS, I think. Because I really want to delete app.css and not have CSS files per component. If I'm going to use Tailwind, I get to avoid that. So let's see if this works. Moment of truth. What are the chances it works? First try. Very slim. Oh yeah, I'm not even running it. Okay, so once I've done all those changes, I need to say npm run dev. So restart the server. Did that work or not? I don't know. You ready? I'm going to get rid of that. I think that is not plain old React. I think that's Tailwind. So coming down here, let's say text dash red, not text, color red. Wait, it would be text, right? Why do I not get? Okay, well it is working, even though I wasn't getting autocomplete with Tailwind. You seeing this? It looks gross. Yep. Yep. So the thing that I added was this line, which you copy paste off of their page. Import Tailwind CSS from quote at Tailwind CSS / Vite. Down here. Did you? Let's see. You did this npm install first, right? And you definitely need class name, not class whenever you used it. In the app TSX here, in this H1, that I just is the only place where I use Tailwind classes. And then this, yeah, this at import the Tailwind CSS, this line needs to go in the index.css at the top. Looks like it's bringing in all this other stuff too. But I believe that's enough. Is that working? So the beauty of this, as we get it set up, I know it is a pain to set up, is now we're able to create components where we can style them with Tailwind very quickly. The components have within them kind of all together in one spot their look, their content structure, their HTML, their style through this CSS through Tailwind, and their functionality through JavaScript, and it's all organized by component. Let me know offline if you've got questions. Remember our thing at 3:30 today. If you're able to be here, I will try to record it and share that with you. I think it's more straightforward. And on Friday, we do want to spend part of the time looking at this superposition thing and another part of the time planning our quantum event for some high school student visitors, where I really want your guys' creativity and your insight to help us make a really great event. Annika, what's your number? Reset. Okay, I saw her clicking. Thank you, guys. Thank you.